I used to shoplift calendars.
Did you really?
Don't laugh, John.
Did you get arrested?
They caught me, yeah.
What
I
happened?
got 12 months.
Kensil Culture, Puppets, Props, Puns, Podcasts.
Okay. Yeah. Oh. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Kensil Culture, the pop culture magazine. Ladies and gentlemen, right now I'd like to introduce the Grand Poobah, the king himself. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Mr. John Kensil. Here's Kensil.
Hey, people out there who don't like to bathe. I'm dressed like a 1970s villain on like Quincy. Like, give us the money. Right? Pretty cool here, too. Check us out. Nice red tie there. This is a cool, nice red tie. It's from a store called Thailand. You get tie stick there. But, Wid, I noticed your tie.
Well...
Oh, wait, why do you have the hat on? Wid's got a big hat on.
John, hey, this is America, and you can say anything you want, John. Right here, I have, right there, this is a Jerry Garcia tie. Jerry Garcia.
He invented whiteout. What did
he was with the Grateful Dead.
Yes.
He was the leader of the Grateful Dead, Jerry Garcia. Very influential in the world of music, jam music. Without them, there would be no Fish.
Oh, man.
I did that for the hell of it.
Clownfish.
No. But right here, Jerry Garcia tie. It's so funny that he was such a, he would wear T-shirts and jeans all the time. And you never saw him in a tie.
What's on that tie? Is that his guitar?
I have no idea what's on. Some sort of strange psychedelic.
Yeah, it looks like, I thought it was the shape of his guitar, that Gibson E6-7 thing.
But he always represented, he has a very famous picture of him with a hat just like this on. But I have another American here, okay? And that is, of course, our favorite, Ben Franklin. Ben Franklin, yes. Right over there, who invented the lightning rod and probably had one. But right over there, and it's sort of a little parody. It has him with beer. This is from a fireworks.
Oh,
okay? Really? And it's called, instead of Ben Franklin, Ben Drankin, okay?
Oh, man.
I love it. And look at how American Ben Franklin was.
Ben Franklin, interesting guy, 11 kids that they know of. He was very promiscuous. He believed in free. He was a hippie back then, free love, free hippiness and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
He used to take moon baths. He actually wrote a pamphlet. He used to write pamphlets and sell them. And he wrote a pamphlet called Break Wind Proudly. I don't like saying it. That word is what Mel Torme hates. And
he also wrote a letter to younger men to say that you should copulate with that's
yes.
Chris that cop that you that you should actually younger men should actually hook up with copulate. Okay, and police, but and
Fuzz.
that they could teach you a real lot and
copulate with who? Anybody?
No, with older women.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he wanted the younger guys to go with older women. Reverse cougarism.
I think it was called I Like Pruntang.
John, we don't talk that way
sorry.
here. Yes, he invented the first takeout library, the first
fire
department, the first
post office.
First post office. He was the man.
The flashlight repair store. He was a very interesting guy. They could make a mini series out of him that was just interesting. Very, very interesting guy. And he discovered clouds. Wid.
He was from, he was actually from Boston. He was I think he was the youngest of a whole bunch of 12 kids or something like that.
Oh, You know something else too?
And he came to Philadelphia and found out that he could buy 3 loaves of bread for what he paid for one up in Boston. So
You know, very
that's why
interesting
he
about
stayed.
him. Sometimes you hear people talk about the Constitution. Oh, I'm not paying attention to that. It was written by a bunch of old white guys, right? Totally not true. The major signers and writers of it, like Jefferson and Fred Travalena, were like in their early 20s. The oldest people was Ben Franklin was like 87 when he died. Oh, another interesting fact, you morons out there. People write me letters constantly saying, you know, people died young back in the old days. Not true. That's a chronic lie. The age of death. All right, there is one factoid about that. Infant mortality rates were very high because people would sleep with babies in bed and roll over on them. Did you ever hear that too?
No, it's it was called Conquering Death at Childbirth. Okay, that was a really big, and it's actually there was a time when there were more people born, kids born, than who died from being born through infections, through
and also he's right, through infections and stuff. One of the number one things that stopped that, bassinets, putting the baby in a bassinet in his own private little bed, because so many babies were died when the mother or father was sleeping. The mother would hold them, she'd fall asleep and smother it, right? But that stopped it. But also all right, and the odds are, if you live over the age of 18. Back then, this is 300 years ago. The chances are you'll die in your 70s were like 95%, unless you got stepped on by a bull.
How about Solomon and Methuselah, who lived 300-400?
Were they in the
years?
Grateful Dead?
No, but they were fans.
Wait.
But Methuselah and they lived 700 years. And I hear now, this is the theory they have, that these guys live so long.
I know why.
Why was that?
They got their calendars at the dollar store.
I used to shoplift calendars.
Did you really?
Don't laugh, John.
Did you get arrested?
They caught me, yeah.
What
I
happened?
got 12 months. But anyway, no, and they fired me. I used to work in a calendar factory. They fired me.
Why?
I took a day off. Stop it, John. But Ben Franklin, he also invented a thing called the glass harmonica.
Oh, that's neat.
Okay,
What is that? There's a name for that. The Zooz of some phone or something, or the harps. What is? Oh, that's really neat. He's the guy where, and you still see these guys like appear on talent shows. They would fill wine glasses with different levels of water, and they would wet their fingers and go around the rim like that, and you'd hear that.
But he found out how to make it into a piano-type instrument with little bowls that had different pitches, okay? Pitches. And he, actually, Mozart, the famous Mozart, the composer, see how I said that? The great composer actually wrote music for that instrument.
Interesting, very interesting guy.
Van Dranken.
That's right. Now, Whit.
Yes, sir.
Did he invent the bifocals, or that's somebody else?
No, he invented the bifocals, and he also invented this thing called where you could look out your window, and it was a device that the snooper or something, I forget. It was a device so you could look out your window, and it had a mirror, and you could see who was at your front door, so you wouldn't have.
A lot of people have that today. When I work in people's houses, I have a day job. I'm a repo man for an adoption agency, but a lot of people have that by their front doors.
You're kidding.
But he invented the bifocals. Ladies and gentlemen, I have they call them cheaters, the reading glasses. Man, they're filthy. But anyway, I had a very good pair of these, right? Yeah. I had during the day, and I accidentally paid too much, like $30 for them. I go, why? My God, you get them for like $2 at the dollar store. By the way, too, you don't do that because they have like plastic lenses. You want something with glass lenses. So anyway, I bought a pair. I'm like, what? Oh, I was too late. I already paid for it. And look, I thought they were like $10. Here they had lights built on the side, so you look like Pee-wee's Big Adventure. When you had
I know those. I use them at the,
You can buy
at flea markets at 5 in the morning.
So check this out. So, see, Wid, I'm an animal lover.
Yeah,
Right.
I know. That's
right.
what I hear.
It's on my.
And the sheep are nervous, John.
It's on my. Thank God they can't talk. They so I
John got me.
and so I had a real nice pair of them, right? And I love animals, all right. And today I was walking down the street, just minding my own business, and these two beautiful huskies. Well, wait, they were beautiful, but one was evil and one was real friendly. And the evil one's growling, but the other one was like jumping up, and he had the husky blue eyes.
Oh, yeah, those huskies.
Real nice dog. I'm oh, no, love, and he's loving me. I'm petting him. I'm scratching his ears and checking for hernias and getting the peanut butter out of my glove compartment. But real nice dog. So I leave. I go back to my job, repoing for the option agency. And I go, wait a minute, where's my glasses? Where are my glasses? And I retrace my steps.
It's like one of the worst feelings when you lose your glasses,
Oh,
isn't it? It's like losing your phone, which they equate to. They say it's almost like having, a traumatic experience.
Oh, yeah,
in your life, like having a pet pass away
or a person. You're right. Well, that's when fortunately, I try and do everything to cover those bases. My house is full of spare glasses, but these were neat glasses too. They lit up, right? Mm-hmm. Like, damn it! So I'm going over. I'm retracing my steps. The ceiling at the Long John Silver's Lady Room, the library. Underneath. Anyway, I looked all over for it on one of the ventriloquist dummies, and I remember. Wait a minute! I was petting those huskies.
Oh no, John! Don't tell me.
So I go back, and the dog was like leaping at me, and here I go there. I can't find them. I thought maybe they're on the grass next to this picket fence where I was petting the dog. And so I come back and I walk up and down the driveway. I'm going, I know they have to have these here, right? And it's weird too. The house I was at, I should take a picture of this. The guy removed his lawn, and he had a lawn 25 feet by 25 feet. He took it up and he put AstroTurf down there, right? And I'm thinking, how many mailmen blew knees out like a football player trying to run an AstroTurf? So I'm looking there. I'm thinking if they fell, I would have heard a clink clink noise on concrete, but I didn't hear a noise. So I'm looking around, and I go, well, let me look in this yard, right? And I walk up
where the dogs were.
Where the dogs were.
Who let the dogs out?
I don't know, right?
I'm sorry.
And here I look over, and I saw the glasses chewed up beyond anything. The dog ate the glasses.
Oh, my God.
And there was a battery in it, and I'm thinking this dog's going to have issues and sit-down funny issues and stuff. Like, the dog's like, oh, look at this wonderful dog toy. It's glasses from CVS.
But he must have been a seeing eye dog.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But that is so sad that he ate your glasses.
Oh, yeah, he really did, too. I'm not making it up for the sake of the show. And but there's a song dealing with eyesight called I Saw the Light by
Todd Rundgren. I sing it all the time at karaoke. I'm a big Todd Rundgren fan.
It's weird, too, because he's from the area. He's from Upper Darby, Pennsylvania, and he's well-respected, well-liked, and he was a hit maker. He wrote great pop songs in the early 70s. Then he became a producer, and he produced The Cars and a bunch of other bands. Like, he's a genius coming to know to create songs and craft and all that stuff. And very interesting, all right? His third album had that I Saw the Light on it. Hello, It's
and
Me.
I saw
and
the light.
You'll remember that song?
In your eyes.
Well, there's a movie called Kingpin with Woody Harrelson, Randy Quaid.
Kingpin,
right?
It's
Bill Murray, Chris Elliott. Well,
it was very funny about bowling, and they had a
Amish
up in the Amish. I used to work up in the Amish country.
Did you? What'd you do?
Well, I was a chauffeur for this woman.
Really?
Well, she said I drove her buggy. But sorry, John.
In the movie, it's a road movie.
It's about bowling.
Yeah, it's a funny movie. Bill Murray's in it. It's hilarious. It's Big Erm McCracken, but they're traveling across the country, and there's a musical montage. And it's very funny. They're in a '72 Cutlass convertible, gold with a white top, and they're playing "I Saw the Light" by Todd Rundgren. And I saw the light. And it really fit the scene well. So I bought the soundtrack. Mm-hmm. That song was not licensed for the soundtrack. It was in the movie, but not on the CD.
Well, they probably had to pay a lot for that. That's.
And in the previous movie called Dumb and Dumber, right?
Uh-huh.
Near the end, they play another Todd Rundgren song called "Can We Still Be Friends." Can we still be friends? It's a great song. Not on that CD either. I'm like, he must not have licensed it only in the film. But anyway, he's from the area, so I bought this album. And it's really good music. Did you ever meet him? Did you ever?
I met him at a club called Elan that used to be a disco back in the 80s at the Warwick Hotel in Philadelphia. And he was there, and he was with a beautiful woman who I think was a Playboy fold-out at one time. That was his girlfriend for a while. He had this woman, and he was actually in the little bio in what we call a fold-out, not to be mistaken with Mad's fold-in. This is a fold-out on Playboy of a woman displaying her lovely charms. And he was in there, and they showed them on a date, and he had his hair, and this was back in the 80s, it was 19 different colors.
Yeah, it was like purple and blue and stuff, yeah.
And he always had like an interesting look with his hairdo. And he came up to me and goes, "Oh, you're one of those dirty comics, aren't you?"
Really?
That's all he said. I think I think after that was. I said, "No, I'm not dirty."
He's a big, long, tall, lanky guy, but a very interesting guy. And also too, like he toured when Rick Ocasek before he went to heaven. The Cars.
And the Cars, yes.
Well, he didn't want to tour anymore. Plus, he was old. He's probably in his 70s. So. Todd Rundgren toured with the actual band, the Cars, with them, right?
Yeah, and it was an auto body experience.
This is true, right? And but Rick Ocasek sued them. So they were called the Cars of the new millennia. Something very similar happened with the Doors, right?
And with the Creedence Clearwater, people infighting. I love that.
So what happened though was he toured with them and he got sued by Rick Ocasek. Then it's funny, a couple years later, Rick Ocasek went on and toured them like at the last tour they did before he went to heaven. But a very interesting guy, and he still tours now, does his own music. He toured a couple years ago where all these classic 60s musicians like him, Mickey Dolenz, and a couple other people did the Beatles' White Album. Okay. And it was really cool. Because they all have commercial pop voices. The Beatles, very interesting. And but
the funniest thing I heard that you said about Todd is that he was considered the
male Carole King. Carole King had that famous album that women love from the early, like 1970.
Tapestry. I don't think only women love that. That sold more copies than the Bible.
And she was
sorry.
Oh yeah, it's
offended.
It's a really good album. It has always great, crafted, heartfelt pop hits by Carole King, like It's too late, baby. Now it's too late. Oh, it's just weird. It's such a pretty song, but it's such a sad thing. It's too late, baby. Yeah. We tried to make it, and I can't fake it. And she also wrote a bunch of hits for the Monkees. She wrote Pleasant Valley Sunday.
Wow.
The Abba Dabba Honeymoon. But
that's when she was living on Long Island, I think, and she wrote. She was inspired by the crass commercialism of living on Long Island at the time. But
it was very interesting because she started out at the Brill Building writing a jingle, writing songs for hit people. And she did a lot of songs. My God, she's incredible. And then James Taylor did "You Got a Friend," and I'm not sure. I know. I don't know. I keep thinking that song we were singing earlier, "Up on the Roof," or I've heard her do. I've heard her do a version of it. But she's incredible. Anyway, Todd. They
also wrote a song about her. A guy named
King, her husband.
No, it was the only. Breaking Up Is Hard to Do.
Oh, Neil Sedaka.
Neil Sedaka wrote, "Oh, Carol, I can't think." That was one of his first hits, and it was about Carole King.
Never knew. Well, and it's funny too. If you hear her version of Pleasant Valley Sunday, it's on YouTube. You can hear, I think, a piano version of it. Well, the Monkees sing it. The local rock group down the street is trying hard to learn their song. Mr. Green is so serene, he's got TV. Well, you hear her version.
You sound like a monkey.
Oh, it's not. It's more melancholic. The local rock group down the street. It's very different tempo and stuff. And it's very neat hearing this. That real quick for a little side note about the Monkees. If you hear the original version of like Daydream Believer by a guy named Jon Stewart, right? It's not the way, the 6 o'clock alarm will never ring, cheer up, sleepy Jean. The original version, is a slow, melancholic song. It's not like, it's not the upbeat, peppy, zippy, chase the monkeys around song.
I enjoy discovering like different artists doing the same song, and a lot of times it is in a different either tempo or it's a different feeling on that song.
It's
a great example is Neil Sedaka himself, who wrote "Breaking Up Is Hard to Do," and
he redid it in the
dum
70s.
doo 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 dum dum,
Right.
and then he went from that to he did a slower version with.
And it became a hit in the 70s.
They both were giant hits because "Breaking Up Is Hard to Do" when it's sang slow is it's a classic. You know, Sinatra or Dean Martin or or your cousin could have sang it.
It might sound boring, but it's actually if you could, I just we don't have the licensing. But it was a zippy, peppy, happy song in the 50s when he did it. Breaking up is hard to do. Don't. Then you're right. He really like the slow jazz version of it. Breaking up.
Yeah, he did a slow, like sort of a middle of the road version of it. Didn't they? I know that you love these guys, okay? The Fleetwood Mac, didn't they have a song that they did on an early album that was really slow, and then they put it out later?
A lot of their songs are that way. There's a lot of bands that do that. I got to think. I know what song you're talking about. Oh, damn it. But they just
I don't want to know.
No, but other bands do that too. It's God, who else am I talking about now? Crap. Damn it. Cheap Trick. I love Cheap Trick. Robin Zander just turned 70 last week, the blonde-haired lead singer. The original version of I Want You to Want Me on the album, not live at Budokan.
All right.
It's a barrel house. What do you call that piano? The barrel house piano, old-timey bar time.
Barrel house piano. Yeah.
And that's what it sounds like. Yeah. Well, then he did it live at Budokan. It's way different and better. I want you to want me. And very, very interesting. Now, I mentioned his birthday was last week.
Mm-hmm.
This week, Joe Besser from the Three Stooges, it was his birthday. And he died in 1983, I think at the age of 88.
Joe Besser.
The big sissy, Stinky.
The big sissy Stinky was also in a lot of movies. He was first discovered by Olsen and Johnson. Olsen and Johnson.
The Medicine People.
No, they're not. They were a comedy team back in the 30s, and he was part of a show, maybe you heard about it, Hell's a Poppin'. And he would come out, and he was a man of size, okay? But he was like a man-child. He would be always like whining and complaining. Oh, I don't want to. Don't hit me so hard.
It was actually funny. He dressed.
It was hilarious.
And then he was on the Abbott and Costello show. It was a big sissy kid named Stinky, and he dressed like Buster Brown.
He was a big man child, and that's what he was from the beginning. And he would use some of the routines that he learned at Olsen and Johnson, and then he went on to Abbott and Costello.
It was so. You think about today, it was so weird. I'll say it. He was fat. A fat, bald guy dressed as Buster Brown, alive, walking down the street. He had like page boy haircut and a little straw hat, right? And he would get mad at something.
He had a little sailor boy outfit on.
And he would say things like, "Ooh, I'll harm you."
Ow, that's so hard. He was a whiner and and so look, John's still laughing.
It was so strange. But
he was in a lot of he was a character actor, and he was in a lot of different shows and movies for just a little while. He was like a little bit of pepper on
a character guy.
Anything, and then he became
after Champara died in 1955, at the age of 60, coming back from a boxing match, and he had a cigar in his mouth, went to light it, and dropped over dead in the back of a taxi cab. But they were still in a contract, and they made 6 or 8 more films with Shemp, with using old footage or a famous thing called a fake Shemp, which had a guy playing Shemp. Well, the Stooges were all about the same height, about 5'4". They were all short guys. Whoever the guy playing the fake Shemp, He was, it looked like you with a black that wig on right there, right? No, that wig. Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, right. And you watch these later episodes of the Stooges, right? The last one was
I
with
saw
Shemp,
two of them
right?
yesterday.
And it was so funny. Like Mo and Larry getting chased around the apartment house, and they go, "Hey, Shemp, go over there and check it out." And all you see is the back of the guy's back go, and what they did was they dubbed in Shemp's noise. you know, Curly had.
Yeah.
Well, Shemp was.
You're pretty good at that.
Shemp would go. It made no sense. So you saw 6'4" guys back go, hey, Shemp, go down the hallway, and you're, and it was obvious it wasn't him. Then he used old footage, right? And it was funny because they noticeably were older. They're probably in their late 50s.
Well, it was
early
in the 50s when he joined. When he joined up after after poor Shemp passed away.
So then the Columbia kept renewing their contracts, and they went out searching for another Shemp, another third Stooge, and they found. Oh, by the way, too, they looked at Buddy Hackett.
Okay.
Even though I didn't think Buddy Hackett was that old, I thought he was probably a young guy. But
Buddy Hackett was on the scene in the 50s. He did that one after Costello died.
Right.
Fireman Saved My Child, where he played sort of Costello character.
And also too, he was his own character. He couldn't. I don't. That's what I mean. Just because he's fat and with a crew cut doesn't mean he's the Curly character. Because he had a speech impediment. Hey fellas, what's going on? This is Buddy Hackett. Hey, Herbie, the mother bug. So anyway, so the guy Joe Besser.
Joe Besser, we love him.
And he had in his contract he couldn't be slapped. Right? He could get like a pie fall on his face,
right?
But no one could do any violence to him at all. And he made 8 films, and some Stooge fans refer to it as the worst ones they ever made.
That's the article that you sent me, John.
Yes.
That was the worst article. That he was the worst one of the Stooges, which I always thought it was Curly Joe DeRita, who just I can't even watch Curly Joe DeRita. But I saw. With somebody who's never seen the Stooges, I saw 2 episodes of the Joe Besser Stooges.
Right.
Now, after Shemp died, Larry and Moe wanted to go, the 2 Stooges.
Right.
But they were at Columbia Studios, and Harry Cohn, the most hated man in show business, he was connected in some ways to organized crime, and he was always a real powerhouse, and would put his foot down, and what he said goes. Okay, so they had somebody under contract called Joe Besser. Joe Besser was under contract also, and because they were making shorts with just him that weren't that funny, but when he was with the Stooges, he added a different dynamic that wasn't that big.
Are you saying Joe Besser or Joe DeRita, or both?
No, I'm talking about Joe Besser.
Well, we just hit the nail on the head there,
he
too.
didn't act like he did with his character, a big,
it was different.
He didn't act like a big sissy. He acted kind of normal, and it was, you wanted your third Stooge to be a little bit.
They did one of the weirdest ones, too, with him, right?
The one with the horse?
No, where it was, Mo reincarnated as their horse Birdie. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the other one,
sister.
They played 3 sets of triplets, and they all encounter each other.
Uh-huh.
And it's really weird with the cheesy split-screen technology. All right, and they all play 3 sets of triplets, and they all encounter each other. And of course, all of them are like, "I married you. I don't know who you are, lady." Slap. But about Harry Cohn. Well, you always hear in the Stooge books. And then Columbia, they lost. They were just used. They were thrown to the wayside. Well, in the 50s, when all the Stooges shorts were sold to TV and reruns, and Columbia made all that money. Well, the Stooges wanted to go on tour. And they made more money touring.
I'm sure they did. Yeah, you can make a lot of money going on tour in one night.
So they got another run-of-the-mill fat guy, Joe DeRita, who's from Philadelphia, right? And to play it. And now these guys are probably in their 60s now, and he smoked a cigar, and they called him Curly Joe. All right, and it was and he was different too. Like he didn't get slapped, but like a rubber pipe would hit him in the head, right? But his big curly head, whoop, 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 and Champ had his was, that's right, buddy boy. That's even say. And like, who wants to see?
I don't know where he came from, Curly Joe Dorito, because I could not stand it, and he was on the cartoons also.
Oh,
and
so
and the cartoons are so painfully unfunny.
Oh, and they must use the cheapest animation house. This is the 60s, called the Three Stooges. What it was, they filmed little intros for cartoons. Well, the cartoons had to be the cheapest animation you've ever seen. They're so bad, and it was just all
so unfunny. They were
oh my God!
They were worse than the Beatles cartoons.
That's what they look like, the Beatles cartoons. But they made a couple of feature films.
Yeah,
Three Stooges Go to Mars and Cinderella, and they're actually kind of popular. They're in It's a Mad, Mad World, and it's just very, very interesting.
I think their time was there because there were so many markets showing after-school specials of the Stooges. And it was they were much more prominent when I was growing. You don't see them on, and we didn't only have 3 channels.
But before we wrap this up, I want to say one of my favorite stories is anyway, the Stooges made a lot of money. They made more money in the 60s doing tours because they had free publicity on the shows. And they go, hey, come down to the supermarket. You'll see the Stooges. Hey, they'll be at this little theater for a showing of the matinee. And they made a lot of money doing that. But it made me laugh because kids thought, they go, where's Curly? Because they saw Curly Joe Dorito, a heavy-set Italian guy with a hair. They go, where's Curly? And Larry Fine got sick of it. And Larry Fine finally snapped at these kids who asked, where's Curly? And Larry goes, Curly's dead, kids. He's dead. And the kids will start crying. This is Curly Joe, but the real Curly's dead. And the little 6-year-old kids don't want to know what's going on.
Larry had a sort of
I'm warning you, he's dead.
He had he was the most talented musically, okay?
Curly's dead, you little jerk-offs.
Philadelphia, South Philadelphia he's from. And that's where we're going to say that, you know what I loved? I did see one, Joe Besser last night, and it was the one with the horse reincarnation, and his reincarnating his sister.
Right.
And she gives a line, who do you think I am? Kim Novak, okay? And to hear Kim Novak and the Stooges at the same time, because you put that, and Kim's still alive,
yeah.
But she, of course, she was Columbia's #1 girl back then.
Very hot girl. She's pretty.
And our #1 show right now with John Kensil, it's called Kensil Culture, and I want you to push the subscribe button and
ring that bell.
And thank you for being here, ladies and gentlemen. This has been another issue of Kensil Culture.